Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is just about 10 o'clock a.m. on the Eastern Seaboard, and we broadcast every Wednesday morning. We refer to this as our KETA coaching program for realtors because we try to give everybody an opportunity to get off their rear end and make a paycheck. We built this network to benefit heroes, essential employees, first responders, and veterans, but what we've learned is that we can really provide massive benefit to the realtor community that are willing to take advantage of actionable opportunities, actionable items that they can take action on. So today's all about sharing best practices from across the country and what we've learned over the last 30 years doing Hero Direct Marketing. Now, we've only been a nonprofit for about 20 months, but we have the previous mechanism called Hero Home Source and my personal work in law enforcement appreciation before that. So we do have 3 decades of evidence that this works for transactional volume, and we invite you to get to know us better. We always like to say the easiest job in real estate. All we really do is give away money. It's not a hard job, and many realtors are kind of puttering through getting ready to get ready or paralyzed by the analysis paralysis of it all. But it's simple. I mean, you're just offering $3,000 to $5,000 to anybody who wants to buy a house, and you're offering $5,000 to $10,000 for anybody who wants to sell a house and buy another one. So it's not a confusing mechanism. But as we break it down for you and as we simplify it more and more for you, I want to welcome you to the Hero Benefits Network family of real estate agents. There's a tool. The tool is in your portal. It's called a cover letter. And I attach 5 or 6 of these coupons whenever I send a cover letter to somebody. And I will tell you that in my experience, after 37 years, and almost 4,000 real estate transactions, it's as good of a sales funnel as there is. It's as good of a sales funnel as there can be. And it has to do with the fact that when the essential employee, veteran, or first responder sees our flyer, they typically go to the Hero Benefits Network and register. Now, if nobody in your community sees our flyers, if nobody in your community sees our ads, if nobody in your community sees our promotions, then they're not going to go to the Hero Benefits Network. So we employ real estate agents, mortgage bankers, and title agencies to get the word out in your local markets about these very generous, tangible, legal rebates. Now, when someone buys a home, they get between $3,000 and $5,000 is the typical. Of course, if they're buying $1 million house, they get more than that. But we like to use real world figures from our experience. So, $3,500, $4,500, $5,000. These are the numbers that we typically see on buy side transactions. We just did an $800,000 house with a guy, and I think his rebate was greater than that. But on average, $3,000 to $5,000 in buy side. And we refer to that as either a down payment assistance or a relocation grant, which they can use to offset closing costs. They can use it to offset moving expenses. Maybe one of our heroes just furnished her nursery because she was pregnant and she received a $3,000 or $4,000 rebate. So she used that to do her nursery for her newborn baby. But the key here, and the sentiment that I wanted to make sure I hammer home, is that there's a loyalty built in by the hero, by choice. I've not had a police officer, firefighter, or teacher in my experience resent the tangible benefit of $3,500. They just appreciate it and they like it and they want to do business with our network. So in the off chance that, your mortgage partner or your title agency is shopped or they go outside a network for them, that could happen because the hero has 100% freedom of choice. But remember, if they go outside of network, and this is disclosed to them at first substantive contact, if they go outside of network, they forfeit a part of their rebate. They forfeit a part of their incentive. Now, where this gets really fun is on the seller side, on listings. And I myself have helped dozens and dozens and dozens. I would like to say hundreds because I do believe it's into the hundreds, but I just qualify it that I could rattle off names of dozens of retiring police officers, firefighters, teachers, and first responders, drivers from the EMT, ambulance drivers, paramedics, and certainly veterans, that when you list their house, there's a rebate of $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000, and then when you sell their house, when they buy a new house, there's another incentive. So it doubles it up, if you know what I mean. So there's a greater reward for the hero on the sell side of a transaction. There's more money in it for them than there is on the buy side. But in essence, what we're sharing with you is these golden guardrails that kind of keep the parties aligned and focused on the end game. And the end game is to fund the transaction, to create the donation flow, and then to fund the grants back to the heroes. So, when I say that this coupon to the right side of your screen is sort of the catch-all marketing, you've got a cover letter that explains the system, and then you've got this coupon that just shines a bright light on the amount of money that's available to them if they just register at the Hero Benefits Network. And it's an easy pill to swallow if you're a cop. It's an easy pill to swallow if you're a firefighter or a teacher. Carrie, Russ, and Randy run the sales for Hero Benefits Network, and we are truly here to support you. And I think you'll see that through our session today. If you're new to the Hero Benefits Network, or if you're new to Key to Coaching, we want to be available to you. That is my Carolina direct line. You could text me at 828-482-7659. In fact, I would encourage you to text me right now. If you have a question during KETA, you could text me that question. I'll see it while I'm sitting here and I'll be able to answer it. I don't do well with the chat bar, and I don't do well with a bunch of live questions, and that's why I broadcast this way. But I am very, very available to you. So is Carrie and Randy, to support you in your marketing, to support you in your sales presentations, for us to go ahead and do the presentations on your behalf, especially to industry leaders in first responder world or in law enforcement and teachers. We'll do the presentations. Just reach out to us and we'll do them. Use your creative imagination for a minute and visualize 10 of these vouchers floating around in your community. If you ever got to the point where there were 10 firefighters, 10 teachers, 10 cops, a few EMTs, a paramedic, and a lineman. Remember there was a Glenn Campbell song called Lineman for the County? I think it was called Lineman for the County. And it was about the linemen. Well, I learned a lot about linemen in North Carolina after Hurricane Helene came through and knocked down every electrical post. And what we were able to do is to watch these linemen come in from other counties, other municipalities, other states, and help rebuild the infrastructure for our electricity systems in Western Carolina after Hurricane Helene. So there's a pride and an intention here to honor those that were out there fighting for our convenience. Whether you're a firefighter going out into the storm, or if you're a lineman that's going out to put the electrical grid back together. Imagine if 10 of them were carrying around vouchers from you, and they were on Zillow, and they were on Realtor.com, and they were on Homes.com, and they were on your website searching, but they were protected by these golden guardrails. They were loyal to you. And that's what the Hero Benefits Network builds, is loyalty. A palpable sense of appreciation from the hero that he or she wants to remain loyal to our network. And we've closed dozens and dozens and dozens of transactions just recently with our new partners throughout the Eastern Seaboard and in Texas. So today I want to focus on what you could do today. Some actionable items that may seem beneath you. It may seem too rudimentary for your high IQ technical mind, but if we could just simplify it, dumb it down a little bit, it doesn't take a lot of time to drop off one of these cover letters and a couple coupons at the fire station. Does it give you butterflies in your stomach when you pull up? Maybe. If you're shy, if you're timid, if you're an introvert, it could give you a sense of a challenge, your courage. What are they going to think? Do they want me there? You got to fill your mind with the idea that you're giving them a gift. Imagine if your rich uncle gave you $4,000 extra to buy a house with. Just walk in there like you're their rich uncle with $4,000. I mean, that's a fantastic catalyst for confidence, right? I'm just coming in to drop off these flyers. They're worth $4,000 or $5,000 if you're buying a house, and they're worth as much as $10,000 if you need to sell a house and move. That's all you have to say. Just quick like that, then just drop them off. Now, the first time you drop them off, they might be a little cooler to you, colder, or they might be busy. But the repetitious involvement of doing this on a monthly basis is where your Hero Benefits Network zip code comes to life. Dropping off cover letters and coupons at a fire station. Walk right into the elementary school. Walk right into the middle school. Walk right into the high school. If there's a private school in your community, go to the administrative office like you're a parent. Walk up to the counter and say, "Hi, we run a nonprofit. I'm the local rep for the nonprofit, and I'm charged with the responsibility of promoting this to your teachers. We're going to gift them $3,000 to $5,000 when they buy a house, and up to $10,000 if they ever have to sell a house." Police station, same thing. In fact, I just walked into the Highway Patrol office in Silva, North Carolina. I walked into the fire station in Silva, and I physically brought the flyers. I just handed a flyer to a nurse that I knew from a rental deal, and I was able to say, "Hey, remember, when you're done renting, you get $3,000 to $5,000 to help you with your down payment." In almost every market that you serve, and certainly every market that I've ever served, there's a Veterans of Foreign War branch or chapter, and there's an American Legion chapter. Just dropping off a cover letter or coupons at the Police Benevolent Association, the Fraternal Order of Police, the Firefighters Union. Now, there's 8 stops on that map. And I'd like to challenge you to go to Google Maps and punch in fire station and then map it. Okay, there'll probably be 4 or 5 fire stations in your community, but map it on the Google Maps, right? And then say add a stop at the elementary school and the middle school and the high school, and add a stop at the police station. And I think what you'll find is in one day, in one 4, 5, 6 hour day, you could knock out all 8 of these as far as hand delivered drop off a cover letter and coupons at the 8 target audiences. Now, the cost for that is the cost of paper and ink. The cover letter and the coupons are in your portal. And I want to stress this one more time out of love. If you need a confidence booster, if you need help mapping, the Google Maps that we just flirted with, if you need just a little bit more support in the dialogue that you want to use, if you're, facing a lack of faith that it will actually work out, I can give you a plethora of examples of people who have done exactly this, and it's resulted in transaction volume. So we have a huge group doing this all over New Jersey, and we have groups in Florida, Texas, North Carolina. I think we're in 10. This is a grassroots movement. That means we're doing it one firefighter at a time right now because we're a small nonprofit. But what could you invest today? Let's say you looked at that last screen and you said, Russ, I love you, kid, but I'm not going to go driving around in the hot summer to go walk into these places uninvited. That's not my style, kid. And I would say, all right, well, it does pay well, though. It does produce transactions and it builds relationships. But if you said, no, I'd really rather not do that. Or what else can I do? What else can I do besides that? And I want to paint a lovely picture here. On the first Monday of every month, or on the first Wednesday of every month, I make my rounds and I go drop off these cover letters and flyers at the fire stations and the police stations and the schools. But what else could I do? That's just the first Wednesday of every month. That's just a staple month at a glance opportunity for me. If I've got a monthly staple where I go visit, what else could I do? Well, you can mail a cover letter and coupons. And these are public figures, okay? These are public servants. All audience is online, okay? Every single one of their email addresses, every single one of their phone numbers, they're accessible to you, including their mailing addresses. So let's take a look at mailing a cover letter and coupons to the fire station. Basically the same 8 target audiences, but instead of driving over to the fire station and dropping them off, which I suggest you do because it's warm, it's small town, it's nurturing, and you'll be shocked. At one time it happened to me where the guys in the station were, just doing their thing. And I walked in and I said, hey guys, we got this thing. And he goes, hey, call Benny. And Benny comes out and he goes, hey, aren't you thinking about buying a house? Yeah, I'm not ready yet. I got to save us more money or whatever. Oh, well, here's $3,000 to $5,000 down payment assistance when you go to buy your house. And we handed him the coupon, right? So if you're in person, you're going to get that higher touch camaraderie with the police officers. And that's what you're grooming the role for. That's what you want it to feel like, where they recognize you, they know who you are, and they want to do business with you. Similar to like how it would feel in a farm area. If everybody in a geographic farm area knew your name, they would know who you are. You would become like Realtor famous. Realtor famous means, everybody in that subdivision knows your name because you've done a good job marketing yourself in there. Well, grooming your role at Hero Benefits Network means that you would become Realtor famous or Hero Benefits Network famous in the fire station, in the police station. And if you don't see yourself as that kind of an outgoing, networking, nurturing sort of being, you've got to show me other ways to grow your business in real estate, because I don't know I don't know of a way that an introvert who stays primarily to themselves could ever do $5 million a year in residential real estate or $10 million a year in residential real estate. It is a networking, nurturing, and promotional job. So, not to make a negative from a positive, but you've kind of got to invest or do the sweat equity. Now, I've been doing these in the Western Carolina mountains. There's a lot of small municipalities with small fire stations and police stations and sheriff's offices. And there's also a lot of volunteer fire stations in the nooks and crannies of our community, and all of them qualify. So we spend about $1 a package to get the leadership in charge, a mailed package. And that's just a ballpark. But and again, if you can't find the mailing addresses, if you don't know where to look for the police station on Google, if you can't find the chief of police's email address or direct telephone number or his mailing address, you can call me or text me, and I will help. I'll guide you through it. I'm not going to do the work for you, but I'll guide you towards these administrative leadership persons that are absolutely the conduit for transaction volume. Now, I have a celebration to make. One of my realtor referral partners in LBI, New Jersey, a very affluent section of the Jersey Shore, won a space in the firefighters newsletter. Well, here's a big picture actionable opportunity for you that I know that you could execute today. Between now and 5 o'clock tonight, you could have an ad. What you have to do is call the local firefighters and ask them if they have a newsletter that they allow advertising in. Almost all of them will say yes. Yeah, they say our union has a newsletter. Local teachers newsletter. Find out who publishes that local teachers newsletter. Find out what it's called. The firefighters newsletter in Jersey happened to be called The Trumpet. And it was all about, things that are going on that affect firefighters, their benefits packages, their vacation time, their time off, paid leave, whatever. Everything that's relevant that the administration needs to communicate to the firefighters and the local law enforcement are in newsletters. Now, some of them are digital newsletters, and some of them are still print newsletters. But whether it's print or digital, they still sell advertisements. Okay? Now, the advantage that you have is that you are a 501c3 nonprofit. So you could place a banner ad on a website, or you could buy a full page ad in the newsletter. But in my experience over the last 3 decades, many of the ads are free. I'm going to say that again. Many of the ads are free because you're a 501c3. So if you need our charitable documentation, if you need our EIN that it can, I think that's what it's called, that covers the nonprofit side of what we do, you can just call this number, 828-482-7659, and I will get you the charitable documentation, the 501c3 legitimate nonprofit, so that you can benefit from either deeply discounted ads or even free ads. So there's a big picture actionable opportunity mixed with a handful of others that we went through earlier with dropping off and mailing. But a big picture actionable opportunity is to get into some of the newsletter advertising space within these local sectors of heroes. I'm going to pull a quote out of a very famous book that says, whenever 3 or more people gather, incredible things happen. And I'm going to recommend that we follow that formula in our professional life as well. Having one realtor, one mortgage professional, and one title company was the nucleus of the idea. That was where my passion grew from. Because if I was only giving a 20%, rebate from my commissions, it felt a little sketchy. Like it didn't feel like a formal program that the large audience of heroes would buy into. It was just one guy giving a little discount. But when my mortgage partner and my title company became the we behind my I was able to feel more confident and to feel the power of presence, having a presence when I'm not present. That's leverage. If you partner with a mortgage professional and you partner with a title company, now you've got 3 people gathered. And whenever 3 or more people gather, incredible things occur. You have the power of it. So think of yourself as a team, and you can use each other as accountability partners to say, all right, Russ, the realtor's going to go do all the cops this week. Mike, the mortgage guy, is going to do all the firefighters this week. And Tina, the title agent, is going to do all the schools this week. And then we come back at the end of the week and we share the load of the work. And if I were waving a magic wand or praying for your success, meet weekly or bi-weekly, like a BNI group, and just say, hey, let's go to breakfast twice a month. First and third Wednesday of every month, we're going to get up 8 a.m., go to breakfast or noon luncheon, and we're going to just sit down and we're going to work on just this together. And I promise you, whenever 3 or more people gather, there's someone else joins you. 828-482-7659. If you need my help convincing a mortgage banker or a title company to join you, I'm going to show you where they can go right now to get all that support. Now, the wheel spins. The cogs in the wheel are you, your mortgage partner, and your title company. So I like to show you this. My wife calls this fun with arrows because she thinks it looks silly, but I call this the reason that Hero Benefits Network exists, to triangulate a transaction towards closing with 3 industries in alignment. That means the realtor does the wants and needs analysis, talks to the hero about his goals, and prints off a relocation grant voucher. That's your job, the realtor. Then you refer it to the mortgage banker who pre-qualifies the purchase referral, and then it goes down to the title company for fulfillment and closing. So this is a 3-pronged attack with 3 separate industries working together under the Hero Benefits Network. Now, just in case you don't know, every realtor has a portal, and it's as simple as going in and logging into your portal. And that's where things like your coupons and your cover letters and your vouchers are. So if you ever can't find a voucher or a marketing piece that you're looking for, or you have an idea for a different marketing piece, go ahead and text me, 828-482-7659. I'm going to say it one more time to make sure you know I'm earnest and I want your communication. 828-482-7659, and I'll help you with the portal. Now, if you've never logged in before and you're not a member, you don't have to pay any money, okay? There's no monthly fee for this. At Homes for Heroes, you have to pay a fee if you even want to do a transaction. At Hero Benefits Network, because we're a nonprofit, you don't have to pay us any money other than the referral fee. You can join the Hero Benefits Network and get your own password protected portal without paying any money. So just hit the sign up button on the top right-hand corner. One of my great passions of the last 45 days has been building this playbook, the HBN playbook. And there's little 2, 3, and 4 minute tutorials that explain some of the things that I've been explaining throughout today. But a coach is a person who can get more out of you than you can get out of yourself. And I would challenge you to go dig around in the HBN playbook for inspiration and ideas to help you fuel your passion and conviction about the Hero Benefits Network. If you're a realtor online today, or this is your first time seeing what we're doing, you can get certified at herobenefitsnetwork.org just by hitting the Get Certified Now button. There's no cost to get certified. There's no cost to sign up, and there's no cost for your private portal. And there's certainly no cost for the HBN playbook. The only thing that costs money inside of the Hero Benefits Network is when you want to create an exclusive zip code. And that is a vetting process that we go through with our vendors to make sure they have the capacity to represent our organization at the zip code level. It's most assuredly leaning towards brokerages and team leaders that could really handle a zip code on their own. In the beginning, we sold zip codes to some individual agents that were not prepared. They just weren't willing or able to manage that zip code. So therefore, the heroes wouldn't be served. So we've learned that when we do this, we have to have the right person with the right intentionality. So it's 10:31. I did it almost in exactly a half hour today. And I'll tell you that it is a coach's responsibility to get more out of you than you can get out of yourself. I hope that you'll take the opportunity to drop off coupons and cover letters to your target audience this week. I hope that you'll take the time to mail coupons and cover letters to your target audience this week, and approach those public servants to place nonprofit 501c3 ads at deeply discounted rates or free in their newsletters. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I've been doing this for almost 40 years, and we just crossed over 2,500 certified agents in the United States. So I'm very excited that we're growing as fast as we are, and we're bringing on new mortgage partners all over the country, including a big one that we onboarded in Houston, Texas, who's starting to really make traction there. And then last but not least, I can't thank Surety Title enough for going into Berkshire Hathaway's Zach Shore Realty and building that three-legged stool with a title partner, a real estate partner, and a mortgage partner now in our Jersey Shore location. So thank you so much for all your help and building this dream of mine. And if you need any help from me, you got my number 4 or 5 times during this session.